How's everybody doing today? Hey, welcome everyone. First and foremost, thank you all for joining me today. This is the Women Who Leap Network for those of you who are on YouTube. And for those of you who are joining me from other stations, hi, my name is Uche Maple. I am a leadership and personal development strategist. I am the managing director for Noteworthy Consulting, where I help organizations increase their performance with people engagement to increase retention and also increase job satisfaction. And for the Women Who Leap community, thank you guys. Thank you everyone for showing up. This is a community for aspiring, for women who are currently working a phenomenal 9 to 5, and they're looking to create a new stream of income without having to get a second job. So really being able to leverage your natural gifts and abilities so that you can create the income you desire and the freedom that you want so that you can pass down legacy and wealth to not just this generation, but the generations to come. So, everyone, thank you for being here today. For those of you who are watching, please tell me where you are coming from, what state and city, and really what made you decide to show up today. So, we have a phenomenal topic today. We're really going to talk about 3 tips on how to change your behavior to gain favor. Okay. And just to let everyone know, in the next 2 weeks, we are hosting a masterclass on how you can stop being overpaid, because we know, statistically speaking, women are paid at 83 cents compared to our male counterparts. And we definitely know that with women of color, it's less than that. So we're hosting a masterclass on how to stop being underpaid and be able to leverage your gifts and abilities, which you're going to be able to generate more revenue, more income, which allows you to have the quality of life that you desire and with the freedom that you want. How does that sound, everyone? That sound good? Say yes, yes, for those of you who are in comments. So in order to register for the class, what we're going to see here, you see in the comments here where it talks about the class, and it's also in comments, okay? So make sure you sign up, sign in, and join, because it's going to be an amazing time. And also, too, in order for us to just continue engaging as well, I will be going live for the next 2 weeks at 3:00 p.m., where we're going to be talking about a multitude of topics dealing with limiting beliefs, dealing with how fear impacts us, dealing with how can we begin, how do we even know what our talents are and our gifts? And, as a woman who is in STEM, why are so many women leaving that particular field, considering that we went to school for it? So we're just going to be talking about all of those amazing things, which is going to lead us up to the masterclass. And this masterclass is one that you do not want to miss. You hear me? We're going to be talking about how you can increase your income potential, how you're able to build confidence so that you can attract high-paying clients. And even, here's the thing, even if you're working, building confidence also helps you increase and helps you with your stakeholders. Confidence goes a long way. The more confidence you have, you'll be surprised the bigger your pockets are, okay? And then above all, really being able to understand what it means to create wealth and a legacy so that you can leave behind. Wealth and legacy can be anything that you desire. Yes, yes. It could be helping and being more impactful in your community. It could be creating something that's revolutionary at work and that you got a patent on it. It could be even just creating another stream of income using your natural gifts and abilities where you're not having to go physically get another second job. So, who's ready? Yes? All right, let's get started. So today, what we are focusing on is, like I said, 3 tips on how to change your behavior to gain favor. And really what we're really talking about is how many times a day do you tell yourself you can't do something, right? We're really focusing on how our limiting beliefs are impacting us, that is preventing us from living the life that we want to live. Yes? Okay. So I was listening to this audio, and it's by Ruth Logan, and it's called Limiting Beliefs, 7 Ways to Stop Limiting Beliefs in 7 Days. And the reason why this book was impactful to me was I was just really thinking about the 3 things that usually happens to us in our life when we are learning something. And when we're younger, we're learning. When we're a young adult, we are unlearning. And then the more wiser we get, we're relearning. And listening to this audio, it really helped me understand how the limiting beliefs that we have learned throughout our lives has changed us, shaped us, where we stop and prevent ourselves from being the best that we can be, even really stepping out and doing things that are risky. But because we have been taught to not do something, that someone put a belief in us, it usually impacts us in a lot of ways, mentally, physically, and even financially. And what we're going to be talking about today is really from a financial standpoint, but they're all encompassed How has these limiting beliefs impacted us from really living the life that we truly desire? Yes, yes. Okay, so I'm really excited, guys. This is awesome. This is amazing. Okay, hey, Pat. I see Pat on here from New York, NYC. This is right on time. Yes. Okay, very good. So, first and foremost, when we say things like, what I can't, I'm not good enough, I mustn't, those are examples of limiting beliefs that we are telling ourselves. And my firm belief is that when we are saying things like this, it really becomes at a cellular level. That means the cells in our body begins to believe it, begins to adapt it, and our body instinctively begin to behave that way. So those are some examples. If you're doing that now, stop it. I remember my kids were younger, they used to say, I can't do this. And we would say, can't is not a word that we use in our house, because you are pretty much programming not only your mind, but your body on how to behave, how to react, how to do anything that you want to do in your life. So those are some of the examples already in terms of those are limiting beliefs. So you're like, okay, Uche, then what's a limiting belief? A limiting belief is something we believe to be true versus something we know to be true. I'm going to drop that again because I don't think y'all hearing me. A limiting belief is something we believe to be true versus something we know to be true. So here's an example. Here's a truth bomb. I have brown eyes. Yes. And I know how to drive a car. Those are true statements. Limiting beliefs are our perception of ourselves, who we are as a person, and what we are capable of as a person. So these are our own perspectives. So, first and foremost, as children, right, we're like sponges. We are absorbing information and experiences from our environment, no matter where it is. But unfortunately, some of those experiences can lead us to learn limiting beliefs that can hold us back later in life. If you know what I'm talking about, say, I understand. In comments, I understand. Tell me that you understand, because I got to repeat this again. Unfortunately, some of those experiences can lead us to learn limiting beliefs that can hold us back later in life. So I want you to think about something that you wanted to do throughout your life, or maybe what you want to do now. What are you saying to yourself on why you can't do it? You know what? My mama told me I couldn't do that when I was younger. So, or my teacher said that was, that I'm not the type of person that can do a field like this. Or someone told me I wasn't smart enough. What's holding you back that you have allowed someone else's perception of you become your own reality? Just saying. These limiting beliefs can be subtle. And the problem is that they're such a big deal that when we believe them, when you believe that you're not smart enough or talented enough, it impacts you achieving your goals. And over time, these limiting beliefs become ingrained in your body, as I mentioned earlier, and your subconscious, that it will shape the way you think, you feel, and act as an adult. You ever wonder why when you meet certain people and they're like negative or they're pessimists, you're like, dang, what happened to you? And when you begin to hear their story, you understand. That's the life. So we have to be very careful on what we speak. The Bible talks about the tongue is a very powerful weapon. So you better be careful what you say out loud. And that's not any different than what you say to yourself. And then as we grow older, because now we have learned behaviors. And as you grow older, you may begin to recognize the negative impact that those limiting beliefs have on your life. One, your friends probably telling you all the time. Two, you can't figure out like, why can't I get ahead? What's wrong? What's going on? Three, you may have a nervous breakdown. You may be in an emotional state of turmoil and you don't understand. And it's simply because of what you have been told that you have carried on into your young adulthood, that now the light is on and you're finally recognizing how detrimental that is to your life. You find yourself that you're stuck in a rut. You're unable to move forward. You can't achieve your goals. Despite all of your best efforts, you're trying to figure out what's going on? What is happening here? And the reality is that to break free of those limiting beliefs, you need to unlearn. You have to unlearn what you have been taught. This includes identifying what they are and finding new tactics and techniques on what you've been taught. So here's an example of something that I have learned that I had to unlearn. Growing up, I learned that you don't do checks, right? I learned that, if anything, you pay for cash. You don't want to write a check. This is when we did checks back then, because we didn't have debit cards at that time. So you don't write checks. You stay away from checks. And when I got older as a young adult, what I realized is that writing a check is not a bad thing. What is not good is not being able to balance your checkbook, learn how to manage your money, and really being responsible to understand not to overspend. That is a learned behavior that I had to unlearn, which pretty much turned everything in terms of how I was doing things from a financial standpoint. Okay. So when you're challenging yourself to step outside of your comfort zone, you work with a coach to help you identify and address your limiting beliefs. So guess what? They're not limiting anymore. Yes, yes. Okay. Yes, Pat, I'm seeing you. Yes, that's exactly right, Pat. For those of you who's tuning in, thank you for joining us. My name is Uche Maple. I'm a leadership and personal development strategist. I help organizations increase their employee engagement and job satisfaction, and helping them retain phenomenal team members in order to be able to increase performance. And also with the Women Who Leap Network, that community is strictly for women who are looking to aspire, desire to learn how to create new streams of income using their gifts, talents, and abilities in a way that they've never seen before, or in a way that someone told them that they could not. And now they're having to unlearn all of those limiting beliefs so that they can relearn and flourish in the desires that they want and the freedom that they choose to live. Yes, yes. Okay, so now we talked about how we have learned limiting beliefs, how we need to unlearn them, and now we're going to talk about how we need to relearn. So as we relearn how to remove our limiting beliefs, we need to make sure that we encourage ourselves because we are now wiser. One of the biggest things is that we're so hard on ourselves. We have to have empathy for ourselves. We talk about empathy all the time. It's okay to have empathy for others, but you gotta have empathy for yourself. We are our worst critic. Give yourself a break. And I know I'm like talking like da da da, but I'm being serious because we beat ourselves up enough, and we need to make sure that we have empathy for ourselves. So what this means is that you are practicing self-compassion and developing a growth mindset, because we need to acknowledge that we are not perfect, that we will all make mistakes, and that it's okay to fail. Fail forward, fail fast, and recover just as quickly. Yes? And we also need to recognize that our potential for growth and learning is unlimited. I was watching my mentor, my coach, the other day on YouTube, and he was teaching us how we can learn faster. And one thing he said, the first thing he said was, say to yourself, I can learn anything. He said, because what happens is that, as an example, when we say, because I've said this, oh, I just can't remember their name. Oh my gosh, I am so bad with names. And by even saying that, I've already just given myself really, really an excuse on why I can't do it. And now I'm subconsciously and consciously not even remembering names. So the first thing you do is you tell yourself, I can learn anything. That's the first thing. And that you can achieve anything you set your mind to, with hard work, of course, dedication and perseverance. But by encouraging yourself, you can break free from your limiting beliefs and then really achieve your full potential. I can tell you right now that none of us, none of us are playing full out. 99.9% of us, I'll say that, are playing full out. We are allowing limiting beliefs. How many of you right now are just even afraid to go live, to give people a lot of great information that you have? How many of you have been desiring to start a home-based business or a side business, and you are afraid because you're afraid of what people will say? How many of you want to dance, take a dance class, or be a chef, or even cook for family? But because you are afraid, because someone has told you or you've told yourself based on an experience that failed, you won't try again. In order to gain favor, and I say favor because favor is amazing. Favor means that when we put ourselves in risky situations, the universe has a way of opening doors for us to gain favor. The reason why we don't get favor is because we don't expose what we are amazing at. We keep it hidden. We keep it hidden because someone told us that it wasn't a gift. So I'm going to give you permission today to expose your gift, to expose it to people who can need it. So then you will get exposed to the favor that's coming your way. Yes, yes? Yes, yes? Okay, so here are 3 ways that you can do right now today on how to reduce the limiting beliefs that you have set for yourself. Who wants to know that? Who wants to know that? Me? Okay. So the first thing is, and I always teach this, I always do this with when I have my business growth accelerator cohort, one of the first exercises we do is identifying our limiting beliefs. Because in order for you to be successful at anything, we need to know what are we telling ourselves that's stopping us. You can do whatever you want. You can say, I want these goals. I'm going to do all this. But if you are telling yourself and preaching to yourself, I can't, I must, I shouldn't, I'm not good enough, you are already sabotaging the process. Yes, yes? Okay, so the first thing that you can do right now is, what are your limiting beliefs? Because oftentimes we may not know. So your limiting beliefs are from a magnitude of things. It's from experience. It's what you've been told by your parents. It's what you've been told by your teacher or authority figures. Fear of the unknown. It's something. So you need to pay attention to yourself. So here's what you can do now. Get a pen and paper. Write down today. Write down when you become resistant to something. Write it down. I was resistant to going to bed at 10 o'clock. I was resistant to cooking dinner. I was resistant to doing something. Just write down what something that you are resisting to do. Write down when you're telling yourself, I can't, I mustn't, I shouldn't. Write down when you are having a negative reaction to something. Write down what it is. And at the end of the day, I want you to tally up all the negative things, all the limiting beliefs you said to yourself. And that in itself will tell you how many times a day you have a limiting belief that you're telling yourself. You might be surprised. The second thing you can do is, as you're writing down the limiting beliefs that you're telling yourself, now I want you to write down what are these audacious goals that you want to be able to accomplish, no matter how big they are. Write them down. Because here's the thing, if you have no goals, you will find yourself being influenced into behaviors you don't want. There's nothing, hey, what they say, an idle mind's a devil's workshop. It's the reason why they say that. If you have no goals, if you're aimlessly walking around, you will find yourself in an environment that you don't want to be in. Write down some goals for yourself. And the belief that you can do something often has a huge effect on whether you can do something. Just even writing down, I am going to make $250,000 a year. There is a belief in that. You begin to believe it, but if you never write it down, it doesn't exist. Yes, yes. All right. Or here's another example, right? So when you revisit these limiting beliefs that you write down, rewrite them as a goal. So if a limiting belief is what's a limiting belief? I'm trying to think. I've worked on myself so much. A limiting belief that I used to tell myself all the time growing up when I was younger was, I'm not smart. True story. I'm not smart. And when I got older in high school, I will write down that you're going to be a mechanical engineer. And that in itself began to plant the seed of me being more invested in math, me learning more in science, having a great relationship with my teachers, learning more. By default, it became subconscious. So you want to write down your goals, no matter how big they are. And the reality is that no matter how big they are, you can break them down where you can get some achievable and more instant wins. So here's an example. If you're saying, hey, I want to read 12 books this year, you can break that down by saying, well, I'm going to read one book a month. And then you can break that down even further. Say, I'm going to read 2 to 3 chapters a week. Those are really achievable. And we have to do it that way because sometimes our goals are so huge that it becomes overwhelming and we end up not moving at all. You know, this is why they ask for, you know, when I was working, they would ask, well, what do you want to be in 12 years? I never could answer that really, like my first 5 years. It was hard for me to be able to articulate it really because I didn't know how I was going to achieve it. And if I wrote it down, that means, and if I didn't win it, if I didn't obtain it, then I was going to consider myself a failure. But the reason why you write down your goals, even if there's 5 or 10 years, because they dictate how you move. That's the difference. They dictate how you plan, who you meet, who you need to influence, who do you need to talk to, what organizations you need to be a part of. It helps you move strategically and with purpose. And you're not just aimlessly moving around without a plan. Does that make sense, everybody? Yes, yes. Does that make sense? Okay, so you have to be conscious of what you're saying to yourself. Okay, so first thing is you write down your limiting beliefs. You see how many times you are writing down a limiting belief per day. And then the second thing is that you revisit those limiting beliefs and you write them in the goals and you write them in a way where they're achievable, and where you can really measure success and progress. So the third thing is that when you're dealing with your limiting beliefs and how you can gain favor, you need to increase your positive intelligence. Listen, you got to improve how you talk to yourself. What are you saying to yourself? You better hush that inner critic. You know, there's a saying, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. Hello. Okay, so self-talk is the chatter we are hearing all the times within ourselves. Like, it's there, like just going crazy on us. So the way that I describe self-talk from a negative perspective is really about how we judge ourselves. How often are you judging yourself? Because that judge, woof, will have you going crazy. You can't even sleep at night. You have to protect. You have to protect your mind. It is a retraining, and it's not going to be easy. However, to what the mind can conceive, it can achieve. And I wholeheartedly believe that. You have to be conscious of what you're telling yourself every day in every way. Yes, yes. And I'm going to say this again. In order for you to gain favor with what the universe is offering you, you really have to position yourself where you're betting on you. When I started working at another job, I did something completely different. I bet on myself, and it really paid off. When I started to become an entrepreneur, I bet on myself, and it's really paying off. What's the worst that could happen? Because here's what I know. If you try nothing, you get nothing. When you are opening the doors and you're exposing your gifts, talents, and abilities to the world, not only are you allowing others to be able to gain the knowledge and wisdom that you have obtained, but you are also incrementally increasing your knowledge and information with what you know, because now you're going to attract like-minded individuals. Then you're going to gain a set of super friends. But here's the key, as that when you begin to attract people, when you begin to be in a space with others, you now have to learn. And we talk about this. We're going to talk about this in the masterclass more. I'm just going to give you a nugget here. When you are in a space where you are providing your talents and gifts and abilities, and you are attracting like-minded people, the key where you can grow exponentially, one key. I can't believe I'm giving this to you, but I am. Sign up for the masterclass. The link is in the comment field, no matter where you are. And if it's not, I'm going to go ahead and put it in there. Sign up. Make sure you sign up today for this. But the biggest key here is to cultivate those relationships, and that's all I'm gonna say. Whichever, how you do that? You gotta come to the masterclass. You have to come to the masterclass so that you can learn how we can get those relationships cultivated, and really of a deep dive on really limiting beliefs. So, yep, I'm not going to say anything else. For those of you who are on YouTube, the link has been posted already for you, so make sure you sign up. For those of you that's on Facebook. The link is posted in comments, so make sure you sign up for it. Yep, that's all I'm going to give you today. But again, as I have mentioned before, you have everything you need to be successful. You have the vision and the wisdom. You just have to believe it. Yes, yes? All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I will be back tomorrow at 3:00. If this sounds great and you learned something today, please put in comments what you learned. Please put in comments what you take away. And if you know that someone can definitely benefit from this, please share this with them. Let them know I'll be here every day for the next 2 weeks at 3:00 p.m. sharing different types of secrets, tips, techniques, strategies, mistakes that I have learned as I have started leveraging my gifts and abilities so that I can increase my revenue in my business, but most of all, gain the freedom that I can have the quality of life that I desire. Most of all, that's the biggest thing. What does that look like for me? Really, what does that look like for you? All right, everyone. See you tomorrow. Make sure you sign up for the masterclass. Share it so that others can definitely attend as well. Have a good one. Bye.